Hi, this is Dawn with the Career Confessions. Today we sit down with Brittany, an area superintendent. Are you in Florida?
Yes, I am in Florida, so I work in Tampa right now.
Do you work all over or just you're always in Florida?
I have been fortunate enough to always be in Florida through my career, but you go where the job is. So you stay on the job until they send you to the next job. And it just happens to be like, where is the next job? Was up in Pensacola on two different jobs there. And then when the second one was over, I got moved to Fort Walton Beach, which was like an hour and a half ish or so from Pensacola.
Mm.
And then that job ended. The people that I was with got moved over to Eglin, right, which was 20 minutes from that job, so they all got to stay there, but we downsized our team by 1, so I volunteered to leave, and I ended up coming down here to Tampa. So, just depends.
Did you start in the field?
I did. I started as a field engineer, entry level, bottom of the totem pole, and then I just worked my way up. It goes from in our company, it goes from field engineer, then after your time in the field, you go over to office engineer, which is kind of like a lateral move. So you start learning the office side, then you get promoted up to the project engineer level. Now you're managing your office engineers. And then when you've done your time there and you're ready, you get moved back out to the field as a superintendent.
Okay. So for a field engineer, is that college or is that apprenticeship?
No, it's a salaried paying job, and a lot of them are fresh out of college. Now, occasionally we'll get some one offs like an industry hire that's been working in maybe the electrical field for 20 years and decided they wanted to try the construction management side. Even though they're much older, they might start as a field engineer. So it just depends. But most of the field engineers are pretty fresh out of college or like new to working.
And you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. If I knew what construction management was, I would have majored in this before. My major is in interior architecture and design, and I started as a designer in Tallahassee, and I hated what I was doing up there. I happened to have a family friend in construction, this company, that said, he asked if I wanted to do BIM, like virtual design. So in my head, I was thinking, oh, I can, pick the colors and design the building, things like that. But no, that's not what it was. All it was you see the model of the project we're actually building with the elements. There's no actual design work involved. I did not like BIM, but because I started with the company, I started in the field and they were telling me I could try BIM and focus on it if I wanted to. But as soon as I started flying a drone and I saw the model, I was like, I'll just stay in the field. And I really like the field. So here I am now, superintendent. And I'm like, I wish I knew what construction management was, or that would have been my major in college.
Because you're the superintendent. It must be being a woman on the work site. Has that ever been scary?
I don't think it was scary for other, like, trades, like, people. It was more of scary, I guess, for me interacting with the people that actually work in my company, like my boss, and do they think I'm gonna do a good job? Am I doing a good job? Are they gonna depend on me? Because most people are males, and you've got that good old boys club, so, the dudes become friends, and they go to them for everything they need, or, like, superintendents will go to them for everything they need. And I have my own stories where maybe one of my project superintendents, he was on almost all of my projects and never used to ask me for anything. Granted, I wasn't under him directly on my first project because I was a field engineer, but I knew who he was. And then my second project, we were a very small team, so he was on it. And I had one other guy that started the same month as me, so we were the same position, but he was getting promoted sooner than me. So he was an office engineer that started on the second project like a month or 2 before I got there, and when I got there, I was also an office engineer. So we each had separate scope split. Well, my project superintendent would always go to him for everything, always ask him questions, and we would always have our staff meeting, like, first thing in the morning meeting. My project superintendent kept asking questions like, "Hey, do you know when this is gonna be here?" Or, "Hey, what did so and so say about this?" And I remember there being like 3 distinct days within a few week period where my buddy did not have the answer, but I did. And I would speak up about it and say, "Oh, well, actually, we know it's coming, whatever. It's gonna be here now." And like I would just move along. So I was trying to show that I actually was on top of everything. Well, it didn't mean that much, but then my next project came and I got moved out to Fort Walton and I had the same project superintendent moved out there with me and we were still a small team and it took getting there where we had a terrible, well, I don't want to say that until we had a not as great office engineer that just couldn't really grasp what he was doing. And the only other one in the office was me. And my project engineer, she was really busy at the time. I started taking on all of this work and like blowing the other office engineer's performance out of the water. Like I was miles above him. He ended up eventually quitting the company, but in that time period, they were still there. Nothing was getting done. We had no clue when anything was coming. No submittals were getting put in on time. Like all of this kept happening, and it got to the point where I had to kind of take over this work, and I had so many answers for everything that I think my project superintendent finally started believing in me and he started telling all the trade partners, like, you have a question, go ask Brittany. Like, you need to know something, go see her. Like, and he would just continually send people my way to my office because I just had a grasp on everything that was going on at that time. And anytime they needed a document, they would ask me where it was stored on our server because I seemed to be the only one that knew where everything was. Like, just got to that point, and I think that's when he finally started catching on. Like that I was on top of everything, and eventually I got promoted to project engineer on that project, and now moved to Tampa, and then promoted to superintendent last year. So here I am.
That's awesome. Do you have a big team that works under you?
Currently, no. I was fortunately unfortunate enough to get promoted at the end of like the punch list phase, and I was put in charge of punch list. So I ran it for the project we just turned over. Now it's at the end of that, and all we have is a little bit of rework here and there. Everyone else has been moved off, so now there's only three of us left on this project, and I'm the only superintendent. I have my boss, and then I have a field engineer. So I've got one person. We have nothing to do really right now. And we're in like that last 2% of items left out of 800. We've got like 15 to go. So we're just kind of in this liaison period of waiting for the spring break madness to be over so we can start some tower rework outside because it's an airport. So we can't start it with all these traffic coming through for the busy period. And we have like some really small, we only have one thing going on right now. So there's not much to do, unfortunately.
Do you use Procore?
We don't. We use Project Site.
Oh, alright. I haven't heard about. Oh,
Oh, Project Site is awesome. Yeah, I love it.
what's a typical day like when you're busy running the job?
Running whatever I guess I'm assigned to, but I find that it's more of like making sure your trades are gonna be there on time when they say they are, and then following up with your FEs to make sure that the trades have all their materials, that their cones or work area set up, that they've got the right MOT out, just like small things like that. So if I was busier, I know our next project that I'll be moved over to, they do like a morning meeting at I think 6:30 and then they have a second meeting with the trades at 7 a.m. every single morning where they line out what they're going to go do and then they'll go to the field and I don't know if they do a huddle out there or not and run their stuff, but I have not yet had the chance to work on a project of this size as- in a couple years. So my last project was that small team of 10. Here we have 120. So, my very first project ever, which was 7 years ago to this day, actually, this was my hire on day. We had a team of about 100 on a really big project, and we had multiple superintendents with like 20 FEs. So each superintendent was assigned you had building 8, building 7, there was 2 on amenities, there was 2 for the parking garage, there was someone on site, so it was split up by, like, blocks. Now we're building a new terminal, so I know that they've got someone in charge of skin, someone in charge of underground, someone in charge of the interior, like, they're all split up, and I'm sure they're gonna be split up in sections in the building, and then they kind of run that section. At least that's what I kinda think's gonna happen because that's how we did it then. So my last project, we only had one superintendent, and then we had one or two FEs, and he had the whole building. Yeah, the whole building. It was a very small building, but he had the whole building. So that's how that one went.
Do you work, like, long days and then weekends, or are you, like, on regular schedule?
So that depends on the project and what point the project is at. So on like my last project, when it was busy and we were building and we had to meet our schedule, we were basically working like Monday through Saturday. but we were a team of 10, so we tried to not do any Sunday work unless it was absolutely necessary, which was extremely rare. We had 1 late night every week, but we had 4 one team had 2 late nights per week, and that would be on a rotating schedule, so if it was your late night, you'd stay as late as the last trade was staying that day. On that project, fortunately, it would only be to like 6 or whenever the sun went down is when people would go home, until we had tile going on, and those guys liked to work till like 8:30, and they were the only guys that did that. So if you had late night when tile was going on, you were stuck there till 8:30, but then you could leave, and then we rotated Saturdays on that project, so we would only have 2 people there on a Saturday with light work, so that way, like, our very small team wasn't overworked. But here we no longer have weekend work since we turned the project over almost a year ago now. My work schedule is more lackadaisical. I get here at like 6:45 every morning just because our one trade gets here at 7. I'm here if you need something. I usually leave around 4 or I switch late nights with my FE just in case. So we'll switch on and off and then just leave when our guys leave. And that's it. And no weekend work. But on Airside D, I know that they're working probably full days, like 6 to 5. They're late nights. I don't even know how long the late night team is there because I've not been assigned to that project yet. They're working weekends. They also have so many people, they're like teams of 10, that you get a weekend to work like once every 3 months, maybe. Like 10 every 10 weeks, it's a new team every week. So every 10 weeks, you get one weekend of work kind of thing. But then like on the small projects, when it comes to turnover week, that turns into an 80-hour work week because then you are working from like 6:30 in the morning till who knows 6:30 at night, trying to get everything done in time for turning it over to the owner for substantial completion. And then we're working Saturday and then we're working Sunday just to get everything done that we can get done. So that is usually the longest week of the year.
So what are some of the high pressure moments that you experienced?
High pressure moments, probably when it comes to difficult conversations between like a trade and the owner, or us trying to settle a disagreement where a trade refuses to go do some work for whatever reason, even though we believe they're at fault and they are trying every which way they can to get out of it. But then the owner's like, no, they definitely need to do the work. So that could be high pressure. And then definitely that last month when you're lining up all of the city finals and city inspections and trying to get the project turned over at the same time, that could be very high pressure also. Fire finals, especially.
Do you have any advice for starting off in the trades? You're working with every different type of trade. Do you see some trades are better? What are your thoughts?
That comes down to company, not necessarily trade.
Yeah.
So I've seen really great electrical contractors on my last job, but then maybe not so great electrical contractors on another. I've seen some really bad hang door steel company, but then I've seen we have a miscellaneous steel guy from back where I used to be that is so awesome. We hire him for all of our miscellaneous needs on every project. So it definitely depends on the company, not just the trade.
Is your company union or non-union or mixed?
We're the general contractor, so we don't necessarily have union, but we do hire out to our subcontractors, and some of them are union, some of them are not.
What do you do on your downtime?
I work on my other company on my downtime, so I have a bodybuilding team, and usually I'm either writing their training programs or updating their meal plans or working on my website or ordering apparel and stuff like that whenever I can squeeze it into my downtime. So on this current project in this point in time, I have a lot of downtime. When I get busy, it comes down like I don't hardly have any time in all of that work I end up having to do on Saturdays or Sundays or like at night when I get home.
Okay, so you train people for competition?
Yes, I am a bodybuilding coach. So I compete in bodybuilding and I've been trying to earn a pro card in the bikini division for a couple years now. And I'm competing again this summer. But through my 10 years of doing it or so and starting to do really well, because I've done last 3 national shows I did, which one was last year and 2 were the year before, I came within, like, 1 to 3 places off of turning pro, so then I'd be a professional bodybuilder. So because of seeing that, you get to nationals, that's, like, the best of the best, and every single girl there has won a regional show. or they've won the overall at their regional show, which is like the top girl, and they all want to go to nationals. So they're all trying to turn pro. So they all come in looking the best they've ever looked. And you're against those girls. So to turn pro is really hard. But once, I pick up one girl that maybe sees me at a show and is like, "Oh, I wanna look like her," she's inclined to come and have me be her coach because she wants to look like me, so what did I do to get there? And then someone that she knows sees her, and then they ask who her coach is, and they want me to coach them, and then the ball starts snowballing, and now here I am with, like, a team of 10, and I have so many people now reaching out to me to coach them. My inquiries list is growing and growing, and I'm gonna have to cap it at some point because 'cause I'm gonna be way too busy to handle them all.
Yeah, that's awesome. My friend actually, used to do the shows, so I've been to a lot of them because she's my best friend, so I have to go to all her shows.
Yeah.
They're
It's
fun.
fun. Regional shows are not as fun depending on the show as the national shows, but at least when you go to a national show, they usually have like an expo of tables set up so you can go and wander and collect free samples and buy stuff and like see a lot more than just a show. So they're like vacation kind of.
I give you all credit 'cause, it's insane to watch what you have to do to get on that stage.
Yeah, the end of prep gets a little
Yeah.
rough. It does. Low calories, high cardio, fitting it in on top of this work schedule. Yeah,
She tried to get me into one, I was like, "No way. I will not survive it."
it's hard. If you were to do one, you might end up
Yeah.
getting addicted and have to do another and then do it again, and it just doesn't stop.
Where do you see construction heading in 10 years from now?
In 10 years from now, probably a lot of technologically advanced buildings and different kinds of tools you can use, but I don't see it straying too far from what we do currently because obviously you can't have robots build buildings. But you can use different kinds of technology like we just implemented. Over here, we have a robot dog that walks the job site and can track it every single week. There's a team that's in charge of this dog only for the entire project. And then we have the big guy has put together, they have a massive virtual model that you can connect to the augmented reality 3D glasses. Eventually, when we start getting like overhead going in the terminal, like down the line in the future, you can go take your iPad out to the building, open the app, light up a corner in the model with your corner in real life, and then you pick the walls and the floor so it connects itself. And then you choose like the 3D button and you put the glasses on, and then you can see in front of you like there should be ductwork here and conduit to the left and like fire line to the right, and you can see if it's actually in its place like it's supposed to be or not. So that's kind of cool. So you can
Yeah,
see clash detection in the field or know if someone's in the wrong spot without pulling dimensions on it. But as far as that would be, like, the most technologically advanced you can go.
yeah. The robot dog sounds really cool too.
He's really cool, but he's also really loud, and occasionally he falls into holes. So I think they're working out some kinks with it.
That's great. Thank you for coming on.